Howdy, welcome back to the channel. This is Matthew Pizgatti checking in from DFW, Dallas, Texas, and we're talking about DRIP. But not just DRIP, we're talking about stake. And specifically why stake protocol is not the challenger to DRIP. It is not the competitor, the up-and-coming new reigning champion. And let's talk about why that is, and we'll just dive right into it. But first, what is stake? Maybe you haven't heard of it yet. Maybe you have no idea what the stake protocol is. And we're going to talk about it because it's incredibly similar to DRIP in a number of ways, but then not so similar in other ways. So, this is the main page. This is the home page for stake, and it tells you most of the basic information that you would want to know if you were thinking about throwing funds at it, throwing money at it as it were. Investing, gambling, playing a game, whatever you want to call it, these games, these miners, these ROI tokens in the DGen DeFi space. A lot of words we throw around, but the point is we want to throw money at it, and we hope it gives us a return, and we hope that it's a good return, right? Something we actually want to see, also called profits. We love those, right? So stake, at its core, is a faucet. It has it's very similar to the DRIP faucet in the way that it gives you 1% a day for 365 days. Now, they say 365 days on this homepage. Now, what they actually mean is actually percent-based. You're getting 1% up to that cap. Now, it's not necessarily 365 days. If you're compounding more or you're depositing more, you're going to extend what your cap is. This is one way that it differs from DRIP, is this next part I'm about to tell you, is there's actually a rebase system. Now, we've heard of rebasing in different ways. For instance, Seifu has a rebase that goes directly into your wallet. It just, gives you a percentage back. The way the stake protocol works is that it actually does the rebase into the faucet, and it's every 30 minutes, and it kind of gives you an APY there, but essentially it comes up to 2% a day. So with that 1% and then up to the 2% daily, you end up with up to 3% daily. So that's a much higher return than DRIP faucet. DRIP faucet is just 1%. They say they manage this in a way that's sustainable more so than existing protocols. So this is kind of interesting, right? We have a nice website. It's not an exact DRIP clone because obviously there are other things built into this smart contract that make it a little more unique or in-depth than DRIP. So why is this not the DRIP challenger? Why is this not the new thing to overtake DRIP? Well, I'm going to tell you, really, is that they don't need to compete. When it comes down to it, there doesn't have to be a competition. Now, DRIP has this longevity, has this reputation already built up. We know the developer. We know what he's capable of. We know his flaws as well, timeliness and actually launching things and getting things rolled out in the time frame that he first announces, or in a time frame that would be most beneficial to the ecosystem. We know his flaws, and then we know the amazing things he's capable of, the amazing things that he has brought with the farm and the garden and the DRIP faucet. Faucet's made millionaires already, right? Hit all-time highs. It started out at a smaller number, just like any token does. If we look at the charts, DRIP started around here. This was some of the low points of what stake is at right now. 650 was some of the low dips for DRIP. That's when a lot of the whales loaded up and then rode it up to those all-time highs. It hit, close 200. It was like 180, 170 something. So we saw that type of cycle with DRIP, and like I said, DRIP has that reputation. It's one of the OGs. It has lasted, and that's kind of rare in this DGen DeFi space. So that's why we love DRIP. That's why we're putting more money into the faucet, or at least I am. That's why we're in that ecosystem, because we want to ride back that wave back up. But as long as DRIP doesn't bottom out, we know we're going to be doing okay. If we keep compounding, we're still going to have a good profit return, even if it stays at the exact price it is right now, if you dollar cost average or buy back in. But, back to stake. And the difference here is that stake does have its own unique things going on. It does have its own unique ways that it burns tokens and reduces supply and has this nerd system that judges if you're being a good actor in the system, similar to how the DRIP Garden does. This rates you how you're compounding and how you're putting back into the system, and make sure that you stay at a positive, or else you don't get that extra 2%. So that adds a little bit of an incentive to be a good actor in the system. It has all these different new improved functions, and even things that they're looking to put in down the road, like the lottery. They're looking on launching that as one of their next things. Audits by bigger profile auditing companies. I read a smaller audit from them already, from something Ninja. Was it CMG something? Anyway, there's already been an audit, and I read through it, and that audit seemed pretty confident. There weren't any major issues. There were a few minor things the audit company recommended, and they completed that. And here's these other casino games and lotteries and things that I know they can likely get rolled out, because one of their devs on the team here, on the Meet the Team, is half responsible for BitCrush, or came up with it here. Who is that? Yeah, Master Blaster, this guy here. So yeah, that's really my point of this video, is that it doesn't have to compete, right? It isn't the competitor, the crusher of DRIP, because if you have funds to diversify, if you are diversifying, which you should be doing, if any investment, I mean, if you're in stocks, if you're in dividend stocks, and you're in some Bitcoin, some major blue chip crypto, I'll call it, and you're in some maybe S coins here and there, you got some Doge, you got some of these staking protocols, you got some miners like the DRIP Garden, you got your ROI tokens, you got all these things, and you're combining them, you're diversifying, so that when one does take off, you have enough funds in there to actually see it hit new heights and actually be a part of that. So they don't have to compete. It's not crushing it or competing. Although, to be perfectly fair, right? Any new protocol, any new thing on the scene, especially if it lasts, if it stays around, it does take funds away from other projects. But it's still, in the long run, that goal of diversifying, where I've got, let's say you had 500 drip and you had 500 stake, and if either one of them takes off, you're doing really well, and then hopefully they both have maybe a slow, steady rise. Something that's controlled, slow, steady rising, where we just have new capital trickling in at a good, steady rate, can sometimes be a lot better and a lot healthier. It shows you that a system doesn't just have extreme volatility, shooting up for no reason, dropping for no reason. And if anything, that makes a better investment, rather than just money quickly flooding in and flooding out from all these different systems. The diversification is really important to me, and so that's why I'm looking at something like stake. So it came onto the scene. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm getting into it. I'm throwing some at it, and I think it has a lot of potential. So that's the point of this, is that diversify. You don't have to do one or the other, but obviously, you weigh your options, you weigh the risk, because there's risk in any of this. It's all a gamble, and maybe you trust DRIP so much more, so that's why we put more money into it. That's why DRIP has become so popular. But remember, that's because DRIP has been running for over a year and been holding its price, and it hasn't just bottomed out. It has had a downtrend since the farm's been paused, but it just hasn't just completely bottomed out. So that's why DRIP is so popular. It's one of those, it's steady, it's lasting, it's staying there. People are pumping into the reservoir because they believe in DRIP, and they want to solidify that price floor, and make some money and keep there's a lot of money in the farms. There's a lot of money in the faucet. There's a lot of money in the piggy bank already. Like, it's established, and especially if the larger players and the whales have anything to say about it, they're not gonna not put money into the reservoir. They're not just all going to completely drain the system at one time, especially at these low prices. They don't want to sell out at that price either, even if they would still make a good profit. It's not as smart. So I don't think DRIP is going anywhere. I'm still interested to see where it continues. I'm still putting funds into it, but I'm also diversifying into stake, and I'm really interested in Ooze when it comes out. I think on the 21st now. So there's these other projects that are great to look at if you have the funds to throw into multiple projects. It's something to consider. All that being said, as always, not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do with your funds, but Look into things, do your own research, look at some of these protocols, look through the docs on stake. Tell me what you think. Do you see something that stands out that just makes it, awful compared to drip, or awful compared to anything else that you're familiar with? I think a lot of these protocols are really catching on to and learning from each other. And like this one, for example, sees probably what drip did with the 1%, the 365 max, and then added on these other things to make it a little more attractive. That up to 2% a day is really attractive, and it rewards positive actions in the system. They've also added higher amounts of taxes and fees within the system. That encourages you to put more in so that you make more profit to outpace the taxes and fees. And it also encourages you to stay in longer to make that profit. And it goes back into whatever tax vault or treasury or things they have to then pay out future dividends and funds. So that's, adds to the longevity to run hopefully a year, 2 years, whatever down the road. And then when they have these other use cases coming out, which is really what DRIP needs to, get released. He needs to get all that up and running again if we want to see, positive price action in DRIP into the future. If they can get those types of things rolled out, which they've have on their playbook here on their plan, and they'll probably release those at a strategic time, it's going to skyrocket. And we can already see that in the players here. Like I said, just from me making a video the other day when it was under 300, and we're at 385 today, and steak was at $4 or $5 the other day, and now it's at 750. So it's just like, I want to get it on the ground floor and see where it goes. And it could go nowhere. All these videos, you could maybe shove them in my face, in 6 months from now and say, hey, what happened to steak? And that's why we diversify, right? Because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. So that's why I throw some in this, throw some in that. And we see where it goes. That's kind of the fun here. None of this is guaranteed, but we can use our brains and what we've learned from other crypto projects, and kind of decide where we think we should put our funds at. So I'm excited, and if you want to hop in the team with me, I'm starting the Pizgatti crew on the stake protocol. I probably have the referral in the description or something. I'm sure I do. If I don't, I'm going to put it there in just a second. And, just hop in. We'll see where we're going. It's only $7 right now. Like, that's pretty impressive. So as soon as, and Flame, what you need to build the teams and referrals, I have a few of those as well. How many do I have now? I'm checking my MetaMask. I know you can't see that here. Yeah, I've got 4 Flame. I'll probably buy a few more tomorrow, and I'll buy more stake tomorrow too, and throw it in. So I'm not breaking up with DRIP. I'm not leaving DRIP. Someone had commented earlier about that. Why all the YouTubers were looking at other things. It's because there's just not positive action in DRIP right now. So I mean, you can dollar cost average, but there's no advanced strategy when a token's falling. Even if you believe in it and you want to stay in it, there's not really an advanced strategy. You promote it when you can. If you still think it's an awesome idea, if you think it's an awesome buy-in point, you tell people that. But other than that, I think you kind of peek around. You look at what else is out there, and if you have some free funds, you consider throwing it into that. You know dang well that as soon as all the people get profits from things like stake or any of these other protocols, they're probably putting it into the faucet. If the faucet still looks like it has pretty good price action, if it's not just bottoming out to zero, they're probably going to push money back towards DRIP with some of their profits. Because each of these ecosystems has their own circle, right? You put things into DRIP, you move to the farm, you're farming pigs, you're getting profit, you probably put it back in the faucet. There's this huge circle, and that's, again, why DRIP is kind of suffering right now, because everyone moved money to the farms, and then it got locked up in the farms and paused. They haven't been able to bring it back and revive DRIP. But anyway, each of these protocols has their own circle of life. And then on the grander scheme, all the people who are really investing heavily have their own preferred protocols that they cycle money back through. So, the EMP has its own little circle of life, and stake will have its own, and DRIP will have its own, and ooze will have its own. And you're taking profit off the top, your 10, 15, 20, 30%, whatever it is that you're gaining. And then you're going to put it back into some of your favorites, right? You're going to redistribute and continue to diversify. If one is making 1,000x, you want to put more money into that. If one looks like it's about to explode, you want to transfer some of your profits there. So money does come back into DRIP and into all these, and it helps everyone as a whole. And what would really be amazing is to see, one of my big improvements or my big utilities is I want to see actual marketplaces accepting coins. If I could go on somewhere like a site and buy something with drip, buy something with stake, that would be the end all be all to me of what a real utility would be for any of these tokens. And that would be amazing. And I think you'd see so much price action, but that's a completely different topic for another time. So yeah, I don't think you have to compete. I don't think these are two separate, complete. I mean, they are separate, but I don't think they're neck to neck. And this is going to steal all the people from Drip. It's just that Drip is on a downtrend. Everyone's dollar cost averaging if they can, and some people are looking at other things that are doing really well, and then they're going to get in on the ground floor and make their million, and then put some back in the Drip and all these others if it looks like they're positive and they're going to head back up. So it's just a whole ecosystem. There's micro and macro ecosystems at play, and they all interconnect. And once you kind of understand the whole psychology of everything and how it works together and how people work, what they do when they're scared, when they're fearful, when they're positive, the sentiment, it all comes full circle and it all makes sense in the end. And in the end, we still can't predict what people are going to do, no matter how much we understand. So, it's like I say about believing in things, like people who have faith in things. I used to argue a lot of that when I was younger, and these days I say, you just pick something. You pick something to have faith in, and then you roll with it. You pick something to believe in, and you roll with it. You operate off a past experience, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes, it's all a crapshoot at the end of the day. But I'm excited again. I've said that multiple times. I think this is a ground floor type situation. If there's not some mysterious event or huge rug pull or anything else, you never know. This is a very speculative play for me. I don't know the devs, but to be fair, I don't know Forex Shark, right? We only have faith in Drip because it's been around for a year and because it's shown itself to make a few millionaires. But, I think when you get to that point in a project, it's already past the point of where you would have invested. I mean, that's probably what happened with a lot of people in Drip. I mean, it kind of needs to stay a similar price or go up. If you buy in too high, then you can dollar cost average all the way back down and get it down to where your stakes are, your individual tokens are a lower price on average, and you can make some good money. But by the time it's made a millionaire, a couple millionaires, it's like you've almost kind of missed the boat. I mean, I think Drip can complete that cycle and head back up just because of the farm and all the other use cases and partnerships that should be coming out. I think that could happen, but in most projects, if you're not sure that it's going to have that lasting ability, that's kind of where you end up is like, maybe after it's made a couple, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 millionaires, it's like, okay, I wish I'd gotten in on the ground floor with those whales for the first round, and I think we have that chance with this, so that's why I'm kind of excited about stake. But I have rambled on here too long. Diversify, in summary. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't look at all these protocols and stakes, these different things as if they're competing. They're really not, unless they are just direct, blatant copies like Splassive was off of Drip. But even then, I think a lot of people who were smart, like Stun and Breezy and others, they got in and probably pumped it up. Maybe they just held the token and then sold it. That'd be smart for everyone who did that. For those type of protocols that are just scammy and copies, you pump and dump, pump and dump. But some of these other ones, these ones that are meant to hold, that are meant to last, like Stake appears to be one of those, and Drip and EMP and all of these, they're meant to have these cycles and they're meant to continuously make funds if you understand the strategy and play them right. So that was a lot of rambling. Might have been informative or kind of offered a different perspective for you. I know people are going to call that out as if these are competing, as if it's some type of copy or whatever. And I think it has enough unique elements to not be. And I love the logo and I love the website and I think it's kind of neat. And sentiment is very important in any of these protocols, in any of these programs. The sentiment, the overall appearance, like people like that type of thing. I think that's why Ooze might end up doing really well, just because it's like the '80s theme and it's gaming and it's fun. I think people are gonna have a lot of fun with stuff like that. And you should have a little fun when you're investing, right? This isn't traditional stocks. We're not in suits, sitting in the boardroom, going to the board meetings. It's like there's some fun here. This is like really investing for newer generations, especially. So have fun with it, diversify. Don't be too serious about it. Try not to lose all your money. If I lose all my money, you can come back and laugh at me, though. That's fully allowed. That's from day one of this channel. I hope I've said that enough that you don't have to do anything I'm doing. I'm documenting and speaking out loud. So, I may win amazingly. I may fail epically and lose all my money all at once, and we can all laugh at that together. So, you guys stay safe out there. If you're going out this weekend, I don't know if you're in anywhere near me, but it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot in Texas. We're hitting 105 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, tomorrow. I'm going to be out in the water in a kayak, so wish me luck, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and likes. Stay safe out there.